tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Red Riding Hood shit on you niggas again. I'm on my Mac today. Good old MacBook. Let's see how this shit go today. Today we talking about the white origins of the gender war. So I put up a tweet a couple of days ago responding to one of my followers, and it got its share of likes. But it was a thread about black men and black women taking on gender warring, and most of the views were kind of the same from all of my followers and all the respondents in the thread, right? That basically the gender war is a hobby that black men and women can't afford, basically, as a people, right? My tweet said, let me pull it up here. My tweet said, gender warring is not our culture. It's us imitating European relationship dynamic. Notice whether it's good or bad times for whiteness, they shit on each other. In the midst of striving for empowerment, some of us now pit stop and shit on the opposite sex because of the anxiety. It's corny. I mean, the anxiety of the empowerment struggle, being black, right? As a people, we feel, or just in general, when people feel anxious about X, Y, or Z, they do things to temporarily cope with the anxiety. Nigga mad about child support, nigga gonna say he MGTOW. He gonna get on Twitter talking shit about black women and put that fuck energy out there, right? Fucking chick mad about the fact that she keep choosing men that provided only the list of things that she lusted after, not necessarily needed. What she say? She say, "Oh man, ain't shit." She get on Twitter talking shit about black women, not needing to fuck with black men, and putting that fuck ass energy out there, right? So this is merely us responding to the division between black men and women perpetrated upon black society. And the easiest way I could explain it is it came across and it came into our culture in a cross-contaminated fashion by separation of our families during slavery, inserting white people as our advisors to our relationships because we weren't allowed to advise our own families or run our own ship by law during slavery. The only interaction that was legal between a black man and a black woman was sexual intercourse. Right? If y'all know about the rules that were in place during slavery, everything else was prohibited. Everything else was criminalized, I should say. Not just prohibited, it was criminalized. You see? So that should shed a little light on where in our hierarchy of values white supremacist society wants black people to place positive interacting between black men and black women. Right? Life-affirming interaction between black men and black women. Interactions that speak to us fortifying our relationship structure to work seamlessly with a pro-black empowerment objective. Pro-black empowerment objectives, plural, right? Shit like incarceration. We can go on. Shit like incarceration, the drug war, white supremacist feminism. All of these compromise our emotions enough to where we give ground to gender warring as a coping mechanism, when we should be pointing our weapons at what we say on this channel, white supremacy all day, pointing our weapons at white supremacy all motherfucking day, and not even worrying about a damn gender war. That's a micro issue, right? And we got to be of a personage and as a group mentality to see it as that. A gender war, that's a micro issue, and white supremacy is the macro issue. And we shouldn't allow the desires of a white supremacist society to rent space in our brains because of our micro issues that we may relate to with white supremacy, even on some levels. Oh, black men don't take out the trash, or they ain't shit. Black women don't. I mean, you can go down the list. Black women, they don't wear their natural hair 24/7. Like, you can go down the list and find a reason to get mad at the motherfucker out of your position of not being in power. That's an easy thing for a motherfucker that's not in a position of power to do, is get mad. Emotion is an easy, accessible thing when you're not in a position of running shit. All right, let's just say that. But to my tweet, I can imagine you all understand that whether the dominant society, whether they run the world or they don't, they shit on each other. And they always fucking with each other to get some low vibrating call and response going between the two, between the both of them. It's a leisure activity for them, right? Next to practicing white supremacy, to them it's fun to shit, right? I think it's a critical point of analysis that we can't afford to miss as a people. Hating life, basically, and everything about it, even their opposite sex, the motherfucker that keeps them populated on Earth, it's their culture, right? It's their way of relating and making it through existence. If they did it, then goddamn, the alternative would be for them to be a shining example of humanity between the sexes, right? But that's not fun to them. You understand? What white supremacy deals in is gratuitous fucked up behavior, gratuitous bad behavior. I said this in my video, White Supremacist Dictatorship. So we shouldn't expect anything out of that wheelhouse. You understand? Yeah, they claim to be so moral and so evolved and so high IQ, right? They even show that they know how to imitate humanity from being around the only humans on Earth, black people, from being around us, right? They can even imitate humanity part and parcel sometimes when they feel like it, right? We talked about that as well on this channel. But white-skinned, white supremacist society, their only contribution to the universe, if you just take a whole aggregation of all of what they've contributed and just put it out for the world to see, what is it? They're going to be liars. They're going to be liars and fronters and all kind of fuck shit. Warfare is deception. Deception is a lie. And white supremacy is always at war. So we talk about warfare being deception, war, deception, lie. That's a complex that they work in. They work in a warfare, deception, lie complex within their minds every day when they walk out into the streets. And I think that that's their curse kind of for being so out of sync with the universe. I really do believe that's what they are cursed to have to deal with. And like I was saying, if you want to look at a timeline of things, white men and white women are always at each other's motherfucking throats. If you're on my channel, you probably already understand it in a certain way that I'm going to explain to you. You've probably seen it this way. White people are the only group of people who had to deal with being in caves. Right? Straight real. Keep that shit real, you know what I mean? And what do caves produce in a sentient being? A being that has cognitive, rational thinking or has access to thinking. You know what I mean? If you had to live in a cave, let's say if you had to live in a cave, what do you adapt? You adapt a kind of animalized, caged, kind of restricted, or fucking arrested mentality, right? So let's go further. What is cave living? Living in a cave is a fight against nature, 24/7. It's a very harsh environment to be living in, around, and off of a motherfucking cave, right? So in a sentient being, that creates certain genetic configuration. We can get a little deep because people on my channel do be getting deep. I already know what my audience be about. being in a cave creates a certain genetic configuration within an individual. We know that an environment has a role in determining the gene expression of beings, what qualities a being has, right? And from the white supremacist dominant society's genetic journey, which I talk about on this channel, everything comes up self-destructive, foul, inhumane. These come up as their qualities, right? I like to use the cardboard box analogy. If you're born in a cardboard box and all your family lived off and only dealt in being inside of cardboard boxes, generation after generation for thousands of years, eventually your offspring will begin to take on attributes of box-ridden motherfuckers, right? You're going to be hunched over. You're going to see crunched up motherfuckers in your lineage. Boxes don't have a lot of room for you to walk around in, so your family's bodies are going to have to accommodate to that, right? You're going to see motherfuckers with poor eyesight from being reared in a box, poor lighting, right? Et cetera, et cetera. This is the way genes work. They're responsive to internal and external cues. So looking at the rhesus Neanderthal group, take a group of people who already had and already have low cerebral spinal fluid, which makes them prone to aggression and depression. This is just science. You can research this. I can source it if you want me to. Add that to the fact that they are males and females. They had to sit in a cave for a significant expanse of their existence on Earth. Some people say because they couldn't cut it in regular society, they were too wild, whatever. You know what I mean? Depending on what you subscribe to, I guess. Some people say it lasted a couple thousand years and so on and so on. But assessing the environment known as the cave, what do we see? And what do we learn about the Caucasus Mountain region in Europe? Damn. Where these beings did dwell. It's an environment rife for everybody around to be in such desperation that they shit on each other daily just to live. Right? This is their culture. I'm sure the white woman was nagging and bitching in the cave. I'm sure the white male was beating their ass in the cave. The stress of the environment had them at odds with each other, is my point. So this is the culture that birthed white supremacy, a culture of lack and relational animosity between their sexes, between their genders, right? In Africa and other places where we was at on Earth, when we populated shit, man, we had the fruit of the land at our disposal. We looked in the black woman's face with a smile every day as men, and she looked in our face every day with a smile every day. We enjoying the motherfucking shit, right? But what happened was their lack and animosity towards each other from their conditions graduated to 2019, where their mentality is now, well, we still have lack in terms of, what do they lack? In terms of our ability to process the light information that is present in the known world. What else? Our masculinity and femininity is so lacking that by contrast, we had to label normal masculinity over the ages as now being toxic. You hear I'm talking about toxic masculinity. We have a low birth rate. We're the only people who either decompose or die when in the presence of light information. I'm gonna keep saying that shit. Be it sunlight, be it particular thoughts, right? And their solution is what? Oh, well, we'll just unify under white supremacy out of all those vulnerabilities and see how long we can hold that up. You see? The residues of all of that create and give birth to what we see now, which is white supremacy. It's rudimentarily a delegitimization of all things that are optimal to life. and replacing them only with concepts and actualizations, actually, that destroy life and the things that prop up life and the world of living organisms. See, being anti-life and anti these long-held standardized processes and activities that uphold life. That's what white supremacy is. It's recessive terrorism, which is, I think that's the term I introduced to the new black media sphere. Thank you. I'll take a bow on that. I don't think nobody was calling it recessive terrorism. You can check my earliest works. And that psychology is exacerbated by the physiological factors that I named that the dominant society got from their cave rearing, right? Well, we can go any further, goddammit. What else in the cave, man? In the caves, we know they needed wild dogs. You hear people talking about, they love for dogs, all right? They needed wild dogs to hunt with them and to protect them in the caves from bears and whatever the fuck other animals needed to use a cave as a place to be, right? That's why they say dogs are their best friend. We know they dealt with scarce food supply. They had a pretty horrible diet. They had to supplement a very fucked up diet with like juniper, mallow, these sorts of plants, right? They were eating uncooked dead animals. White women even ate their own babies, right? What else? There was rampant, undisciplined sexual intercourse in the caves. So pedophilia, homosexuality, sex as a recreation instead of a reproductive mechanism, a reproductive act, was the norm, right? Right? I can even take it to a lesson I got from my brother Quanaya Saladin Allah from the Allah School in ONENESS, and that's in Niagara Falls, New York, if you want to know where it's at. And shout out to the brother Quanaya Saladin Allah. I picked up on this about a decade ago when I was studying his work there. And he just broke it down. I was like, yo, the cave, just the terrain of a cave, is a rugged environment. And they created a rugged individualist out of the European. You know what I mean? That's deep. Like someone that's starkly out for self, stepping over the next person, shitting on the next person was no foreign task. And what do we see with the same group of beings today? Man versus woman, gender warring, battle of the sexes, these struggle gender relations, right? We talk about their struggle genes, goddammit, they got struggle gender relations as well, and we need to be keen to it. But these are the things that they introduced into the world. No other group of beings does gender wars. You notice that? Every other group in the world doesn't do gender war. They do gender roles. Y'all notice that? My black people, we notice that, right? And that's what black people should not lose sight of. What we should be doing as a people is adhering to the roles and the values based upon our traditional genders, not the neo-genderism behavior that they try to sell in the dominant society. We don't have the luxury to deal in those types of things if we're to optimally address white domination and us propping up a black empowerment infrastructure that leads to a black rulership. I mean, we don't have that type of time to commit to these peripheral lifestyles and be optimal at the same time to our greater cause, is my point. That's going to have us vibrating the way that we've historically been accustomed to vibrating with each other, from my observation. All that unadulterated shitting on each other at will, shitting at will, all that uncontrolled animosity toward everyone and everything, unprovoked. This is the part of the dominant society's dynamic of interacting with their own group, as well as with the earth and with the universe. Okay, so black people just soak on that. We have to soak on that, all right? So in keeping the scope on their man against woman, woman against man, man on top of the woman, woman on top of the man, me on top of you, me against the world dynamic that is genetically configured in this group of beings, black people, we as a group, you know, we couldn't be on no shit like that. Literally, like, just from our history, literally the wonders of the world wouldn't even exist if we, black men and black women, were at each other's throats like the rhesus monkey Neanderthal people show that is their way to do things, right? And we always see them in their white supremacist media programs and internet social outlets tearing each other the fuck down, don't we? Of course we do. And if the white woman ain't, if she's not emasculating the white man, the white man, what are he doing? He MGTOWing it up. Of course, you got black men, you know, that he's gonna try to convince to run behind it. And when MGTOW, you know, if you look at it, in my eyes, MGTOW, I said on my MGTOW video that it's the white male's escape hatch for his failure of a creation known as the family court system and the marriage system that he created and the money-based masculinity that he created. That's a deep one, y'all better soak on that. Money-based masculinity, yeah, that always becomes a problem in a society that is based on some fake motherfuckers' trophies that he stashed up in his spot, right? Like, these are fake trophies that the white male is collecting and that white society is collecting, right? It's in terms of respectable, honorable, noble trophies, right? In terms of what you're getting out of life and your time on this earth, your time in the universe, right? This money-based masculinity, right? We see that as another failure, you know what I mean, that he created. And it directly parallels his relationship to his, you know, wealth being attributed to slavery. You can get a detail, right? Like slavery, colonizing, raping, robbing black people's lands and robbing black people globally. It's a kind of karma thing, in my opinion, where he now has to deal with his ill-gotten gain in society, always being under attack by the structures that he made to benefit him and his white woman financially, right? Marriage is one of those institutions. So I just found it hilarious that, right? That's the dynamic. But the side note to that is, notice when it's time to get on code with white supremacists lynching of a black man, woman, or a child, and pulling off anything anti-black, they put all of that shit aside. They put the gender war on pause, by hook or by crook. They shut it off. They say, it stifle that part of themselves that says, oh, we warring with each other, to then say, we got to get black people. You know what I'm saying? We got to get black people button, because they groupthink in this anti-black war. We don't have a we got to get white people button. We don't have a we got to get together and empower ourselves around white people button. We don't got a button that says we got to get white people off their throne button and keep them off their throne button. They have a we got to get black people off their throne and keep them off their throne button, right? That's a motherfucking problem. We saw that with the 11-year-old girl who got punched by the 51-year-old punk-ass white boy, David Bell, a few days ago. That he couldn't leave a group of children alone, right? You saw how coon-ass niggas and white society even came to his defense. They all up in the Twitter feeds, A-OK-ing his child abuse because they have such a loyalty to anti-black womanism, anti-black maleism for that matter. They all own one with their fuck shit. And I'm going to do a video on that particular situation. I got some things I want to say about some things I've seen in social media and on the YouTube sphere over the past couple of days about that. I got some things that need to be said about code, because there's a lot of off-code shit happening, and let me do it. Let me do it to these fools out here so they can know what the fuck is up and see if they need to move the fuck around from what the fuck they on, that they not ready. But that's going to happen when I do that. So maybe shit like that can help us see that the gender war, back to that, is just, it's like a little ball of yarn that they throw out and say, hey, look at the niggers go at each other whenever we create a cause for them to do so. Look at the division that we can make them deal in on Twitter, almost on some MK Ultra shit on these niggas now, how we got them wired. And I'm gonna do a post on how white supremacy now operates with MK Ultra type automation in terms of getting black men and black women to snap on each other, getting African people to snap on American descendants of slaves, getting coons and LGBT and immigrants to snap unprovoked on black society and on black men. It's gonna be fun. But the gender war is for us to entertain them. Is the overarching point we need to smoke on and soak on. It's of no benefit to us to let that shit be a part of what we do. So let's get that shit right. Like I said, have black people interacted in a gender warring capacity just organically since our inception on Earth for a whole couple billions of years, according to Dr. Leah Africa, our ancestor, Dr. Leah Africa, shit would have been destroyed a long time ago, in my opinion. There wouldn't be no Latinos would exist, no Indians would exist, no Asians would exist. We would have killed each other off had we been rooted physiologically and with the same undergirdings as them. Had white people been the first people on Earth, literally nothing would be in existence if the stewardship of the earth and the stewardship of people and the vitality of sentient being progress was left in their hands. I mean, and of course you could say, yeah, they burned to death if they were in Africa at any point in time. They burned to death in Africa, motherfucking hog weed to get up in that ass, all other types of shit, right? That shit would take them out, or you know, just shit like that. They wouldn't be able to cut the mustard on a lot of levels, right? But I guess to wrap and bring the points together, I said in my video, the inferiority of the cheat to win mentality about Richard Spencer, that being in a white supremacist society affords white-skinned individuals the ability to bleed over whatever issues they have in their home onto everybody else in society. So we're talking about all aspects of people activity. That's economy, that's social frameworks, that's political happenstances. If white men and women are collectively arguing in their homes about anything, they could be arguing about goddamn which flavor of toothpaste is supposed to be the most bomb shit. I mean, which one is the best? Or which one should be more predominantly sold? Mint toothpaste or cinnamon toothpaste, right? Cinnamon flavor, right? You better believe there's going to be a motherfucking Senate bill about toothpaste flavor as a debate. Now, the smart ones of us out of the black community, we're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, why is this shit a debate, right? Why is this all of a sudden of national importance, right? And the world will all of the motherfucking sudden be on some shit like, hey, toothpaste flavor is now a gender polarized priority in our communities. It's important now. It's just that simple. White supremacy works by goddamn the mere nearness that it has to everybody, to everything, right? It's a proximity-based thing. And, you know, you never hear somebody, you know, that could deny it. I don't hear many people saying that that's not how this shit works. It's like a one bad apple spoils a bunch kind of thing. You've heard that? You heard the one bad strawberry in the field influences nearby strawberries to take on similar qualities. Like, let's say you got one strawberry that's kind of leaning and growing fucked up, or it's taking on some sort of bad pollen that starts deforming a bit or whatever. The nearby ones will do the same, just due to proximity, right? You don't hear that shit being contested. I think that's pretty obvious that there's a effect that the activity of the dominant society has that's can only be characterized as other groups attributing their priorities and values and basically osmosing what they do and what they go through. That's why shit like TV programming and other forms of media are just so programmatic in nature. You ever notice that? It's why your kid wants a motherfucking Happy Meal at 1 year old. And it's why you and your adult ass even sees a Happy Meal as a food option for your 1-year-old. And you want to go to McDonald's and buy the piece of shit Happy Meal, right? So now that I made that clear, black people especially need to be wary about taking on every fight that they, the white male and white female, the dominant society, put in front of us. Especially anything having to do with motherfucking gender. We gotta be strong enough to say we don't want your values, your fights that you value, your problems that you value, because we're melanated beings and we process more of the universe than you do. Point blank. I mean, just make that our response as a group. We just start thinking like that. Whenever the dominant society uses one of its white supremacist wound lickers to inflame us to go against each other, wherever that may be, we know that the root cause is what? They're just jealous of us, individually. I say on my first gender war post that black men and black women are the world's first super couple that everybody is jealous of. That everybody still wants to see not be as beautiful and as vibrant as we are. Even though, even through, the shit we go through, like our struggles, even through all of that, it's like, even though that little shit, they still have it on their mind that, damn, what they give off is still too much, and that we gotta maintain control over that. They feel like they want to hold something out of what we do and kind of asshole us a little bit. You know what I mean? So as black people, like I said, we shouldn't put stock in any of their issues that they bring to us. You better believe it is prescribed to us via white supremacy, via the dominant society. That's not the motherfucking look. And, that's my point. I guess if I wanted to describe it another way, I like to kind of be descriptive and shit and just give a lot of explanations to shit. Think about the shit like Jeopardy. Whenever anything that we can choose to put on our plate comes into our choice field, it's like we always got to pick attack white supremacy for 800. Alex Trebek, I'm going to attack white supremacy for 800. Never let it be about gender. Never let it be about these micro issues. Is my overarching point. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to leave it at that. Yo, check out my Teespring account, y'all. Check out my Teespring account. I got the shirts. They already ready. The Race First brand is ready. Race First. Primum genus is what it is in Latin, but I'm going to make them in different languages. You can check that out. You're going to like that shit. Check out some of the designs I got already. Go support your boy. They're only $21 and some change. It ain't shit. It ain't breaking your bank. Go on and holler at your boy P, because you know how this shit is, man. Motherfuckers need to know what the fuck the shit is. And I like to put shit in motherfuckers' faces. Like, yeah, motherfucker, this is in your face that I'm doing this shit. And I'm about this shit. And you don't gotta like it. But check out the Race First shirts, man. It's all about race first. Everybody does it. You understand? As a group, if we didn't notice, the on-code black community, we know that this shit is race first and everybody doing it. We the only group of people that act like we don't know that it's race first. We the only people that's not really on some, damn, it is just us against everybody shit. We the only ones that people have strategically had an effort and made efforts to divide us along so many lines that we even forgot that it's about race first regardless of anything. So check out my Race First line. Y'all know y'all gonna like that shit. Race first, everybody does it. Race first, everybody does it. And don't let nobody try to convince you that they don't do it, because they lying to you. And your boy P, I'm just spitting facts, you know what I'm saying? Trying to let y'all know. Trying to get it on with my people. Let my people put the shit together. Stand shit. You feeling me, B? But yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. So you know when I'm dropping. Get y'all.